Shade is alive, and in this episode, I will prove that Shade is alive. Now, once I pitched this to the group, I was laughed off, but I can kind of maybe prove it. We've all been online for way too long. The fact we know what Chekhov's gun is probably proof enough that we didn't get invited to parties at all. And also,
it was never meant to be.
And of course, the greater sin, we know what Undertale is. No. It's better than the Rainbow Dash joke I made. Shade's character is inherently about multiple souls, with a sense of collection of killing 4 souls. There's the reanimation aspect as well, using others for his own gain. I wonder why this rings a bell. I swear I'm not losing it. This plays into all of his themes. And the death at the end, with the Undertale theme, we know that inherently the souls are important. I'm going round in circles. I'm going to spiral. I'm gonna hit the towers again. And we know the souls might form an extra cushioning. Shade said he didn't need armor anymore. It slows him down. And I would place money on the fact that soul armor doesn't weigh anything. I would argue also that somehow this is like a super mushroom in Mario, making Shade stronger both through HP, physical, and psychic powers, and maybe in lives. Now, the soul core blowing up and killing Ruber means that either the gods can be overpowered, or Ruber died the second the gods turned off the respawn. I would rule off the turning off the respawns because, A, I feel it would be narratively dissatisfying and bad writing, and I would find you, and B, that means the others might not have been able to respawn. Their souls would probably, to use the gods' term, been swept up by their own river Styx. Elaborating on this, the souls seem to be able to move around and seemingly travel. This explains a lot how the souls were able to be used seemingly as a battery or a power source, and the reason why it seemingly took a short time to return after being, possessed and dying. Used? Yeah, that makes sense. Now, here's where my theory comes into play. The movement of the soul. Shade has been shown to control souls, and maybe in theory, the movement of them. Say, if Shade were to do a 180 at his river and come back, that's going to take some time, however. To get there, to bargain, and then get back. Now, here's where I argue that this will give time for the gang. Is it really a gang? If there's so many people, what's the limit to a gang? This will give the characters time to split heavily, with Green still alive and Josh, let's say, not liking him.
Slaughter us with a grin on your face as you keep moving up to the goddamn stratosphere!
This will, unexplicitly, form 2 teams, just as the gods wanted, and yet these teams seemingly are between those who sympathize with Green and those who do not. Considering that the streams were titled The King's Gambit, and as explained, when played perfectly, leads to a draw, when a draw happens in chess, there's a shaking of hands. Now, I would argue that the 2 kings are Josh and Green, but we've not seen that handshake. Those 2 have not agreed. I would also argue that Shade is the gods' favorite, having been the only one the gods say played by the rules. So I think I may be able to predict the next end of Chosen, this being either an arc or the story itself. All we need is this handy-dandy tool that teachers can't get enough of. Please end my suffering. First step, setup. Set up the setting. Set up the characters. Already done. Second step, rising action. This is the conflict between the 2 teams, though these 2 sides are blurry at best. Through a action, much like oil and water, there might be some separations. Third step, second rising action. Rising action. This is when Shade comes back, and these 2 dumbos make up and shake hands, and they fight Shade. Fourth step, kill God! And I'm not joking here. At this point, the united house of both Blue Boy and Green King might just be able to do what Kojima never could, and take down God, or gods, both of them. Nitwits. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I've been your host, Beholder, and I'm off to kill the concept of pachinko machines.